Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? Just eat lots of bananas, but peels only. And always be sweating, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Join now through September 16th for just $1 down and get back to a real routine with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Deal ends September 16th.
Join today for $1 down. Offer ends September 16th.
See Club for details.
Kara McIver, everyone. There she is. Give us a wave, Kara. Super Ben from UFO Garage. Credit him with our incredibly new-looking website. Thank you, Ben. You are a magic man. Absolute magic man. Richard Elmore, Peppa H, Super Lee, how are you? Thank you for that amazing super chat, my friend. Really do appreciate that. Thank you. We're going to get going here in about 30 seconds, everyone. And, Jurassic Joey, good to have you here. We're scrolling on down quickly. The Michael Leger is here, everyone. The Michael Leger. Politically incorrect. Good to see you. And Beelzebub, nice to have you back. Kevin from Moonlick. The gorgeous Tracy Bena. Here we go, everyone. Jose, how are you? And Project Blue Book, good to see you. Manitoba Becky, she is our personal wheat queen. And we're going to get going here in 5 seconds. Big thank you to all the veterans tuning on in. Super Chat is open. Let's rock this week. Horns up right now. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Let's get this thing going right now, as Nora Funk is a proud member of the Vancouver Island Reiki and Holistic Healing Community right here in British Columbia. She uses hypnosis, hypnotic regression, EFT, life coaching, Reiki, and sound therapy to assist clients to achieve their goals by overcoming challenges to everyday common problems such as stress reduction. What is that? Relationships problems. What is that? Pain management. Got that. Sleep problems. Right here. And to help improve confidence with their clients. Do I need confidence? I probably do. But tonight it's not about confidence and pain management. No, it's about aliens. E.T. contact. Nora Funk, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Good to have a fellow BCer here on the radio with me. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm pumped up for tonight. Pumped right up.
So am I.
Well, thank you for doing this. I appreciate that.
Well, it's one of those things that it's not something that I've been readily telling people. For so long, I've lived in the dark, and I'm a mushroom, and, I'm just out of fear, because I am a professional, and I don't want people to think that I'm crazy or a crackpot. And, the things that I have experienced for a long time, I was afraid. I'm glad to be here.
Well, let's talk about you a little bit, because you are a counselor of sorts. You are a healer and a practitioner of the metaphysical variety here. And, with that comes a lot of responsibility on people. And it comes a lot of responsibility on not only helping yourself, but helping others. How did you decide that was a career path for you?
I've always known. When you're a little girl or a little boy and you go, when I grow up, I want to be, it was always going to be a teacher or a counselor. life got in the way and I never got to go back to school until later on in life, but I did it, and I'm going back to school starting in October again, and I have a year left, and I will have some specializations for a therapist as well.
Right on, right on. Why did you decide to, I want to get into your experiences here momentarily, but why did you decide that in your current role of what you do as Reiki practitioner and healing and hypnotism and everything, that getting into the whole alien game was something that you wanted to do?
Actually, it was kind of thrust upon me. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. I was on Facebook and hiding, and reading all the threads and part of some of the UFO groups and, things like that. And I got to know another ufologist here in British Columbia. And we were chit-chatting back and forth and sharing photos, of UFOs and, orbs and different things, because I'm part of a CE5 group here in town. And so on and so forth. And basically what ended up happening is he sent me a message saying that him and a couple of friends were coming over to do some UFO, sky watching, basically. And did I want to come? And they were two producers out of Ontario, Rob Freeman and Mark McNabb.
Two good guys. And I met them.
Yeah, they're amazing people. So I said, yeah, sure. Well, sounds like a good evening. So little did I know until about 24 hours beforehand just how serious, because I thought they were just shooting like the sky watching, but it was a full-on documentary. So they had me sit down and interview me right on the spot down by the beach. And I was like, oh, okay. So up until that point, even when I told my story, that was literally the first time that I actually told the story in succession, even to myself, that I've actually heard it. Because up until that point, I ran away. So coming into everything, it's only been over the last year that I've even started to utter anything about this aside from my spouse. So yeah. So right up until then, I was, kind of really quiet about it. And then when I interviewed with Mark and Rob, they really made me feel at ease. And I didn't realize just how big that was going to be either, but that kind of exploded as well. And the rest, let's leave until we start actually talking about me being put under hypnosis, because that's when everything kind of changed. And when I had this new understanding as to why I needed to kind of step out a little further. And so here we are.
How did it change you to all of a sudden be put on the spot and tell your story without any preparation, any warning?
It was interesting. I had brought some photos with me because I just wanted to show them the photos. So luckily I had some, some things, because I have had marks left on my body. And I pulled a implant out of my sinus cavity.
Oh my!
Back in 2017. Yes. So laser marks right over my ovaries. I mean, I have a lot of things that have happened over the years since I was 6 years old. So, at that point in time, it was kind of like when I met my spouse. We've only been together going on 6 years now. And it was him that said, why haven't you documented all of this? I don't understand. So that's when we started actually taking photos and documentation. So when everything kind of came about last year, back in July 2020, I was really nervous because I only had a few hours kind of notice when I fully realized that this was a lot bigger than just going out and sky watching.
Yeah.
And so, I think I rolled with the punches. The interview is up on the Rob Freeman World Explorer YouTube page as well. So if you guys wanted to check that out, it's also up there as well. It's not everything, because there's an interview coming in early 2022 out on a documentary that they're releasing. So
You got to meet my good buddy Dan Berg too.
yes, I love Dan.
Yeah.
What a sweet soul. He's an amazing man.
Great hair too. Fantastic hair on him. High and tight, very clean shaven. He looks like a guy who should be driving around in a 1986 Ferrari. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, either that or like even one of those old Trans Ams. Like
You
really
got that
sweet
right.
looking.
Oh yeah, you got that right for sure. You know. That just went off the rails really, really quick right there. But that's okay. That's okay. Nora, for you, as you know, people start to learn about you, and this is kind of one of your pieces of your coming out party. How important was it for you to finally step out of your own shadow and say, you know what, this is something that I need to do publicly. This is something that it's time for me to come out and put it out there of what I have experienced. What was that like for you?
Kind of stepping into my own. Because when you live in the shadows and you hide and you're afraid and you don't want to speak your truth, parts of your life start to suffer because the inside is festering. You know, no matter how much you try and bury it, it's still always there. It's always kind of nagging on you in the background, and it affects everything that you do. So coming forward, it was almost like a freedom. There was a big fear, but once I kind of embraced it, you know, it was a little different. And, you know, from time to time, I still have that fear of people thinking that I'm a crackpot, or people thinking that, you know, I'm an imposter, or I'm making things up, you know, that kind of thing. But at this point in my life, I have nothing to lose. You know, I'm literally, I don't want anybody to go through what I went through, because the fear of the unknown, and your brain having to fill in the blanks of the things that you're missing for memories is not anything that I would wish on anyone. So to me, it's time to come out and start talking about it, because they're here. It's real. And there's more than me that is affected. And I have no idea how many more people like me that have been living in fear and living, you know, in the darkness and not being able to talk about it. So it's important to me to talk about it. And, you know, it was all thanks to my hubby that really started pushing me and encouraging me a few years ago to the point that where I am now. So, yeah.
Excellent. So for you, when did these, you know what, I'm going to save that for the next half hour. I want to get to know you a little bit more as well. So for you, as you've grown up through this phenomena and you have decided to start exploring it more on your own, what have you learned not only about yourself, but of the community at large?
Well, the community at large is quite judging. I have a very hard time swallowing that, because we don't take care of our own. There's so much that they point fingers, and it's automatic. And instead of like stopping and taking a step back and really listening and trying to find avenues of similarities, people are more opt to just judge and not listen. And that's always been my biggest fear, because I mean, like I said, I've been in the shadows and I've been watching for years and years, but I haven't actually said anything. So, you know, that's always been my biggest thing, which is part of the reason why I never stepped out.
How do you feel about yourself since you have?
Well, not a lot of people know my story yet, you know, because last year, like it's just been out basically a month now. So I've had, you know, a few people that have kind of messaged me a little privately, and, you know, that kind of said, good job. But, you know, on a large scale, not a lot of people know yet. So, and not that I really want that either, if that makes any sense. I just want to make sure that I'm helping people. That's my goal.
No, and I can understand that, but I'm trying to figure out what goes on through your brain. Like, what is this struggle of keeping it secret that you have. I know you saying, being public is a little scary.
Okay, so it's because of what I've gone through. Right up until a year ago, I was living with severe PTSD. Shall we go into the reasons why right now? Like, do we?
Yeah, well, you know what? We could start on that. Let's start.
Okay. On it. So my abduction started one day after my 6th birthday, and as I've said, like there's a lot of stuff that has happened to me, and a lot of marks that have happened, and a lot of experimentations. And it's been multiple times, and I've been abducted in the daytime, literally right off the toilet. I kid you not. And also at night. And I've gone missing. When I was a child, nobody knew where I was. There's been a whole lot. So because of everything that's happened to me, and we can get into it a little deeper, but because of that, I've always been running. And I've been literally abducted in every province. I've grew up in Newfoundland. I moved away from Newfoundland on my own as an emancipated female at 16. And I have lived in every province because I've run away. And every time I got abducted, I moved. So now I'm in BC on the island. So I'm as far west as I can go. So, and it's taken me that long to finally stop running and finally kind of face everything. And through hypnotherapy, there was an awakening that happened, and we can get into that. And that's when I kind of came into my own and new understandings, because right up until that point, I was afraid. And when you have that much fear and you don't have all of your memories, when you're missing time and you wake up and your joints are sore and you've got marks over your body that sometimes last 3 or 4 months, those are the things that you're dealing with. And of course, where you're missing time and you only have little small pieces of memory, what ends up happening is your brain starts to try and fill in the rest. And sometimes that's even worse than knowing what happened. So what ended up happening was I kept my mouth shut because I knew, I'm in my late 40s. So right up until recently, UFOs weren't really talked about, especially here in Canada, especially in rural Newfoundland, so, it just got to the point that I didn't want people thinking that I was crazy and I was dealing with it all by myself. And it became a norm. So it's not until, everything started coming out after 2017 and UFOs and, started coming, or UAPs started coming out in the forefront that, I was thinking, okay, maybe. And then that's when my husband started really encouraging me. And then I met Charles and, how everything just kind of snowballed. And here I am right now. So it wasn't anything that I really sought out. It was something that just kind of happened, if that makes any sense.
Okay, you've talked a couple of times about your husband here. Obviously, it sounds like, has been an absolute rock to you, the way a spouse should, going through these situations of being abducted by aliens. How did you first approach him and tell him what was happening?
Well, he is also an abductee. So it made it a lot easier. He went missing as a child. He was at scout camp, and he went missing and nobody could find him. And a few hours later, they found him in the woods wandering around, and he had missed a bunch of time. And he thought little Aboriginal children that were living in the woods brought him back to safety, is what he remembered. But being in a scout camp, everything is actually all fenced in, and it's only the scouts. So he has little pieces of memory. So because of his own experiences, and he was so open with me, it made it easy for me to kind of talk about it with him. So I was very lucky.
I got to ask you, okay, how does this conversation happen over dinner? Does it happen when you're, lazing down in bed, after on a Sunday morning where you just having one of those days you don't want to get out of bed? Are you, mowing the lawn when all of a sudden you say, "Hey, hubby, get over here. We need to chat." How does that conversation happen?
Well, it was literally just, how sometimes you just kind of, when you're first falling in love and you're snuggly and, all of that, and you never want to get out of bed and, those kind of things. And we had a lot of heart-to-heart sessions, just kind of laying in bed and talking and snuggling, listening to music, a little BB King or something like that. And, that's how it happened. So I was like, oh my God, that happened to you? Let me tell you what happened to me, right? So
Let me one-up you. Yes. No, I can totally see that. But, I mean, how long before you guys were, how long did it take you to finally get to that conversation?
Probably about 3 months.
Really? So, yeah. So basically, you're just getting smitten with each other, and then it's kind of like, oh, by the way, I've got aliens.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what happened. What started was we were listening to music, and we had watched Ancient Aliens the night before, and it was like a Saturday morning type thing because Ancient Aliens comes on Fridays. So we, and we were kind of talking about last night's episode, and just chit-chatting back and forth. And then he's like, well, I got to tell you something. And, he started talking to me, and my jaw just hit the floor because, what are the chances of two contactees kind of meeting one another and
Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? Just eat lots of bananas, but peels only. And always be sweating, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Join now through September 16th for just $1 down and get back to a real routine with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Deal ends September 16th.
Join today for $1 down. Offer ends September 16th.
See Club for details.
We did it again. Verizon was just named America's most reliable network by Root Metrics for the 16th time in a row, proving once again that nobody builds networks like Verizon builds networks. That's why we're building 5G right. That's why there's only one best network, Verizon. Best and most reliable based on Root Metrics reports from second half 2013 to first half 2021 of 3 operators on all network types combined, not specific to 5G networks.
Falling in love. So, because I thought for the longest time that I was alone, so I didn't know anybody else, and nobody talked about it or even uttered the words UFO without snicker and talking about tinfoil hats. So, yeah, it was exciting to meet someone for the first time.
And your husband's name is?
Brandon.
Okay, what was Brandon's reaction when you told him you had all of this going on? Like, who told who first?
Oh, he totally told me first.
Okay.
because again, suffering from PTSD, it's something that would trigger. Little things, noises, sounds, a smell would trigger me. So, he definitely outed himself first. And, as he was starting to talk, my mouth was getting wider and wider open, going, oh my God. And, finally I kind of went, I gotta tell you what happened to me. And I didn't tell him everything all at once. 'Cause like I said, last year was the first time that I've ever told the full story, and that was on an interview. So he still, even after 5 years, he only knew little pieces because I wasn't comfortable enough to talk about it. And meeting Mark and meeting Rob, I guess it was time, because I freely and openly, told my story. And as I'm telling it, like I said, it was the first time I had heard it, like from start to end. So it was kind of weird and wacky and wonderful at the same time.
Wow. I mean, that had to take a lot of pressure off you.
It did. It felt like there was like 10,000 pounds of weight taken off of me. Because, when you live with it for so long, and, I had trouble sleeping because I didn't know when I was going to be taken. And, it didn't matter where I lived. And, right up until 2017, when I pulled the implant out of my sinuses, I didn't realize that they were tracking me. So,
well, we're going to talk about that implant and much more when we come back on Spaced Out Radio, because you have an incredible story. And just for the audience knowing, I don't even know the story yet. I want to hear it for the first time, just like you. Nora Funk is here. ET Contact, Hynotherapy. What the hell do these aliens want? Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. This is a great start. Great start. I'm pumped up. Yep.
I'd say yay.
You should. You should. That's a great start for you. That's a great start for you. And looking at the comments of the chatters in the chat room so far, they are loving you. They could tell you're an honest person, and that you are. It's been hard for you. They've got a lot of empathy for you. A Fapster in our chat room, Mr. Fapster. We got some bad news for you, buddy, that we have to push through here to you. I don't know if you heard or not, but Lynn Wallington got engaged on the weekend. Lynn Wallington got engaged, Fapster. Dave Hurley will be the new man in her life. She picked her forever, man. She did. I'm sorry, Fapster. Probably heartbroken. We will cry together. It's just like that. All right, gorgeous Betty Spaghetti, how are you? Welcome back to the show. Where are we here? Let's see who else. Davey, what's going on, man? And yeah, I think we're caught up right now. I think we are. We are caught up for right now.
I might cough a little bit tonight just to give you a heads up.
Do you want a fisherman's friend? I got some here.
It's the allergies are killing me this time of year, so.
Kilbasa Nova looking lovely down in California tonight. The gorgeous Texan herself, the lovely and talented Alicia Carey Wyatt. There she is, everyone. Carey, give us a bow if you don't mind. And the lovely Laura Tarnowski has returned. Night Gazer, what's going on? Thanks for joining us. All right. Super John, how are you? Life Dweller, good to see you. It's Big Bad Devin there. And, yeah, we're good. All right. Let's go. Sweet Donnie D, nice to see you. All right. We're having a good time here. How do you know Sebastian Martin?
Through Rob and through Mark.
Sebastian and I are buddies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we are buddies.
So we haven't met, even though he just lives down the road from me, well, about an hour away. But he came to town, and we were supposed to go for coffee, but it didn't happen because he didn't give me any notice. I had a meeting that afternoon, so I couldn't see him. So we're gonna hook up and go have coffee one day soon.
I love Sebastian. He is such a good dude. Such a good dude.
If you know Sebastian's story,
yeah.
The first time I watched it, it was on Tubi TV, and that's when I reached out to him, going, "Oh my God!" Because our stories are so similar. It is unreal.
Mine is Sebastian's too. All right. Ozzy, oi, oi to you, my friend. Fat Bass, how are you, man? Good to see you. Chris Mo in Austria, nice to have you here. Gorgeous Carla, nice to see you. Sweet Pam McSee, nice to have you here. And want to let you all know our brand new site, spacedoutradio.com, is open. And we launched it earlier today. The store is open. You can get your Chad Smith t-shirts right now as we speak. Put your orders in. And we've got a bunch of really cool swag there as well. And when you buy your swag, do me a favor. When you get it, I want a picture of it. We have a brand new Facebook, or not Facebook, on our page. We have a brand new fan zone. So if you've bought gear before, or you got gear now, and you want us to put it up, I would love a photo on how you're rocking Spaced Out Radio. And do me that favor and send me those pics, and I would appreciate it. And yeah, it's friggin' awesome. Ben from UFO Garage built our website along with Geraldine Orozco, and both of them did just an amazing job, and I got to say thank you to them. We're about, let's see here, about 30 seconds away from going into the second hour. Lovely Lauren, how are you? Nice to see you. And so make sure you head on over to the website while you're listening to the show, get your swag, and check it on out, because our new swag is just, it's friggin' awesome. Ben, to you, buddy, right there. Big thank you to Heidi, Waylon, Chad, Lee, and Black Dragon for the super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Also, thank you to all the veterans tuning in. We love you. You always have a safe place here on Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Nora Funk. She is a hypnotist. She is an ET contactee. She works with other contactees to kind of help counsel them what they're going through. It's all a big healing process, as we're starting to learn, and we're going to find out about Nora's story coming up right now. Nora, welcome back.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, when did this all start for you?
The day after my 6th birthday. Right up until then, I used to have a star child, a halfling, come and visit me in my bedroom at night. And they would play little games with me. I remember having them at the bottom of my bed, kind of in the dark, and glowing eyes. And I remember them talking with me telepathically, playing little games like, you'd say something and they'd come back, just like another little child. I know you are, but what am I? And play I Spy with my little eye, and different things like that. And, even then I knew that I couldn't say anything. Like, it was always something I knew that instinctively that it was bad and not to talk about it. And then when I was 6, the day after my birthday, I remember I was outside. It was evening, because when you're growing up in rural Newfoundland, everybody knows everybody type thing, and you don't come back until the lights are coming on, and I'm usually just 2 or 3 houses down from where I live type thing, 6, 7 years old. It's not the same anymore. You can't have kids running amok, but back then in the 70s, you sure could. And you know, basically, I remember having, I was by myself. I was walking home, and the town that I grew up in, it's Stephenville. It's on the west coast of Newfoundland. And, you know, there's a lot of open space and a lot of open area. And I remember literally being like in a light and being raised up and not being able to move. And then I remember being on a table, a metal table, and crying and struggling, but I couldn't move. I couldn't even move my head back and forth. And I remember feeling violated, and I remember feelings of like a burning sensation in my ankles. And then I remember being like 2 houses down, where there was a vacant lot, who we used to call Old Mrs. White's yard. And we used to play, because, you know, she had a really large yard and she was kind of in the front, but there was a huge couple acres in the backyard type thing. We used to play, and I found myself there beside the all the trees and wildflowers. And it was 8:30 at night, and I was freaking out because my parents were going to lose their mind because I was late. And, you know, that was my first experience. And I was, I didn't even tell my family what happened, because at the time I didn't have all of the pieces of information. I just knew that I was, because all those things kind of came in memories, little pieces later on. I just knew that I was missing time. I remembered the light, and I remembered being panicky, like that initial, what I remembered. The rest started coming back to me through dreams and things like that over a period of months. So that was the first experience.
So from then on, how often was it happening?
I was abducted at the age of 6, then again at the age of 8. And then I wasn't abducted again until I was 13. And then I saw nothing between the ages of 13 and 18. And then at the age of 18, everything started up again. And it almost seemed like if I took a calendar and kind of marked the days, it was like almost every 2 years. And then it would be a space in time where it would be like 3 times in a run of 9 months. And then there would be nothing for a couple of years, and then start the process all over again. Last time.
Why do you think, sorry for cutting you off there, why do you think it was every 2 years? That sounds a little odd.
Well, it wasn't like on the nose 2 years type thing, but ish. The only thing that I kind of know now, but the only thing up until recently was they were checking on me. They were doing something with my body as I was maturing. And that's all I knew at the time. You know, more has come out since my hypnotherapy, but, and my regression, but, up until, you know, and that was within the past, year and a half that's come out. And, so up until then, it was only guessing. And that's half the reason why I had PTSD, because again, I didn't know. And when you have that, loss of, control, because no matter where I went, no matter what I did, no matter where I was, I got abducted. And, you know, when you're living in all different provinces and you're being found no matter where you are, it's one of those things that I ran. I didn't want to think about it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't blame you.
It terrified me so much that, like, for the longest time, I wouldn't even look at any UFO documentaries, or if somebody would talk about it, I would end up leaving the room because I didn't want to hear it. So, it was pretty horrible.
Yeah, I can totally get that from your vibe, and that is, something that we're going to get into here. But for you, at 18 years old, you figured that's enough. Starting to move, packing my bags, getting out of here. I got to get out of here. Did you ever tell your family or your friends why you were leaving?
No. Well, yes and no. My family didn't know, but a friend of mine who was like my very close dear friend, Monique, she knew. And I literally never told anybody, Monique only knew little things, like she knew of the star child that was coming into my room. I'd mentioned that to her. And, so she knew a few stories about that, and the little games that we would play, and the little card game that had matching symbols and different things like that, it wasn't, the symbols definitely were not anything of this earth. It was different. It was really strange and really weird, and we played a matching game just like you would, like what we play as kids now, headbands or what have you.
Yeah. Okay. So you decide to leave because you want to get away from these abductions, try and run away, maybe a new location, maybe you could get lost, thinking of it on a human scale. When you moved, where did you go to next, and how long did it take for the ETs to arrive?
Okay. So I moved when I was 16. I actually moved from Newfoundland out to Manitoba. I lived in Brandon, and I put myself through high school and worked 2 jobs. And it was probably about 6 months after I got there that I was abducted.
Oh, wow. Now, the abductions you were having, were they of the violent kind, or were they of so they weren't of the peace, love, and light that we hear so much about?
No, not at all. They left me to struggle. I have a memory, probably in my 20s, where I am on a table and I have 2 different alien species beside me. I have one at my feet and the other is standing like right here. We've got a tall alien wearing a blue jumpsuit with piping on the edges all around, and weird eyes, mostly human looking. And then the other alien type was of a gray, and the gray was almost like the nurse. So one was actually talking to the other telepathically, and I was understanding everything. And that was the weird thing. Like, I could hear what they were saying, and I didn't understand most of it, but I could hear it in my head. And, here I am struggling on the table, trying to get away, and I can't move. And I can feel things that are happening to me, but I can't even lift my head to look down at my feet to see what's going on. So I'm literally stuck. And they know that I'm panicking. You can just see me on the table, even if you didn't understand, in the English language type thing, you know what I mean? And, crying, and there was it was heartless. Like, there was no trying to ease a child, or there was no trying to ease, a 20 something, or like, it's always been that way. So that's why I always always ran, because I didn't want to get abducted. It was against my will, and I didn't know what was happening to me. And when you start getting marks over your right ovaries, and sore and, things of that nature, and having laser marks that won't go away for months on end. And you're tender when you're trying to go to work, or you're trying to go to school, or you're trying to.
Anyone can be ready for back to school. But with Staples Connect, you can be more than ready. Like, I got everything on my list and saved a ton ready. Staples has everything you need and more for the new school year. Just visit your nearest Staples store or go to staplesconnect.com for inspiration. Anyone can be ready for back to school. But with Staples Connect, you can be more than ready. Like, I got everything on my list and saved a ton ready. Staples has everything you need and more for the new school year. Just visit your nearest Staples store or go to staplesconnect.com for inspiration.
Do things and is not something that you can go, excuse me, this is what's going on right now. So, as I'm sitting gingerly, or, that kind of thing. So, it's never been a pleasant experience for me. And I never understood why. And I still to this day don't understand why. I understand what's going on, and I know what they were doing to me now, but it wasn't with a compassion. I guess that's the best word.
Who is taking you?
Good question. So I've had a gray show up in my house twice. I don't know, I can describe the other alien that has been there, that has been doing the, direction, the doctor per se. But I've only actually communicated with a gray, and that's been twice.
Now, were they the tall grays? Were they the shorter ones?
4.5 feet tall. 4.5 feet.
And was there any emotion on their face? Did they ever communicate with you?
Yes, communication, absolutely. Nothing, no actual emotion on their face whatsoever. A very strong smell, almost unbearing. Other than that, the first time actually was just back in 2019, and they showed up in the bedroom with my husband there. Basically what happened was we were laying in bed, and it was around 10:30 at night, and we were watching. We have a big projector in our bedroom, so we've got a 7-foot screen on our wall type thing, and we like to watch Netflix on there before we head to bed. So we were watching RuPaul, and it was time to go to bed, so we just turned off the projector, and we rolled over, and we're face to face now, and so I'm facing towards the outside of the room type thing, and just as we turned off the lights, and I rolled over to him, I could see standing behind the fan a gray. And now the lights were out, but the way that our bedroom is there's a lot of light, the residual light that kind of comes in. And he was literally standing behind the fan with his hands on the fan. And I freaked out. I was like, oh my God. And I was screaming and yelling and telling my husband, turn on the light, turn on the flipping light type thing, but more explanative. Let's just put it that way. Right. So, I told him to turn on the light. So he's like, what? And I'm like, just turn on the light, turn on the friggin' light. So he finally turned on the light, and I watched him literally run down the hallway. Like in our bedroom, we have like a small little hallway, and that goes into our master bathroom. So it ran down the little hallway into the bathroom, but disappeared. Like literally disappeared. And I was like freaking out. My husband got up, and he checked everything, even though we were scared. And it took him like good 10, 15 minutes even to like venture down that hallway. And, we had a baseball bat. So
I have to tell you a story about this. Most of my audience doesn't even know this. Back when I lived at my old house, where way before I started this show, I had something similar. I was lying in bed, and all of a sudden, that sheer terror that they were there came through my body. And so here I am, like we had a rancher type house, and down the hallway, that's where our bedroom was, and right across the hallway was my laundry room where my dog slept, my dog Doug, who's right in front of me here. And I grabbed my baseball bat, and out of sheer fear, and I am goosebumping all over my body, I walk to the edge of my doorway, and I look down the hallway towards my kitchen, because you'll agree with me when I say this, those little bastards give off a weird, freaky energy.
They do. Oh, God,
and
absolutely.
You know. And I could feel this guy down in my kitchen. But what really convinced me, because I wasn't sure if I was dreaming or not, but what really convinced me was I heard my dog get up in the laundry room, and he walks to the doorway, he looks at me, and without me even looking down the hallway, he turns his head and looks down the hallway. Like there's something there. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like... He knew. Yeah, he knew. And it was weird because in English, and this is where I get a little weirded out by things, and I don't really understand, because in English, it felt like I was hearing in my head, he's awake, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here. And within like 2 minutes, all that energy that I was feeling was gone. And I'm standing in my doorway, and I'm trying to, in my tough guy role, I'm trying to send this guy telepathic messages. Come on down here. I'm going to get you. Come on down here. And I don't know if that was imagination or if it was, I knew I was awake. I was wide awake. But I don't know if that was imagination on my part or what have you. I don't know. But I do know that within 2 minutes, the entire energy field of my house was different.
Yeah. Well, I can attest to that whole feeling and that whole vibe, because you can feel it. I mean, my God, it is, it's eerie and scary. And, hold on, I'm sorry. I'm just reading that I'm a Chad Smith.
Everyone is Chad Smith.
It's like
here.
Squirrel. Yeah, I know.
That's okay.
But I totally understand. And what ended up happening anyways is, and by that time I was so distraught, and it took my husband was just as distraught as I was, because there's an alien in our house. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell just happened? And, it took us hours to finally fall asleep. I did fall asleep, but the weirdest thing happened the next morning. They took my memories away. They did not take my husband's away.
Really?
Yeah. And I had marks on my ankles that I did not have before I went to bed. So, I have photos of all these marks, but those marks, it took quite a few months to disappear. They have been analyzed and so on and so forth as well, by a nurse, and by Dave Palachuk actually took a look at those pictures as well, unofficially. Actually, just a couple weeks back, I was on the same tour he was at Algonquin Park in Ontario. So we did an expedition, a UFO expedition in August there. So he had a chance to take a look at those photos and everything. And he's like, they're like the same thing that I've seen on many other abductees. But, you had asked why, and my parents were also abducted as well when my mom was pregnant with me. they were driving from Corner Brook back to back to Stephenville, which is about a 50-minute drive, 45, 50 minutes, depending on what time of year it is, because Newfoundland gets a lot of snow. So they were driving, and I only found this out in my 20s, by the way. And my mom wouldn't talk about it at all, and my dad was pretty tight-lipped. It took me about 3 weeks to finally weasel the whole story out of my dad. And my mom was pregnant at the time. She was ending her first trimester, and they were driving back. It was late at night, and there's like on the side of the highway, kind of over yonder, there's like these two big hills and almost like a little valley in between. And the UFO came out like this, in between the two, and shone its light right on Dad's car as he was driving that down the highway. And my dad was starting to freak out, and he was trying to drive faster, and no matter how fast or how slow he was driving, the UFO was keeping the light right, like keeping pace with Dad, basically.
Like
and the light was
taunting him.
Yeah, pretty much. And right in front of the car. So no matter how fast he drove, he couldn't get past the light. So they literally were matching speed with the light, so he couldn't get away. And then they missed time.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because this is important, tying everything together. Now we have a family affair going on here with these extraterrestrials that are not being very nice to you and or your family. Nora Funk, I think you have us all on the edge of our seats right now with your incredible experiences with extraterrestrials. We are going to continue this amazing lifelong journey and encounter with Nora Funk, hypnotist, counselor, ET contactee. We continue right after this on Spaced Out Radio. Scaring the shit out of me. Just saying that.
Yeah. Trust me, I get it. I've lived with it my whole life.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I can laugh a little bit about it now, but it's taken 47 years to do it. So
oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
But now, as I'm starting to unfold the story, can you see why I didn't say a whole lot to anybody? Because it was so traumatic. Like, so traumatic.
I can see that. We've got about 5 minutes here, so just catch our breath. Hey, Kurt Seltzer with a splash of lime. And during the break here, head on over to our website, spacedoutradio.com. Let me show you this. Let me show you this beautiful look here while we're going here. For those of you who want to take a look-see here, they don't want to leave your screen. I'll do it for you. Look at this, everyone. You could go onto our store right now and get your Chad Smith swag right there. Chad Smith swag right there. Everybody has an opportunity to feel what it's like to be Chad Smith right there. Look at that. You can get that right there. That's the men's style. You can pick your colors over here. If you got beautiful hair like Joe, you're going to want a double XL. All right. You can even get a Chad Smith sticker. What else can we get here? Well, let's not worry about the mask thing. But, you could get a women's premium T-shirt. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Beautiful Chad Smith outerwear right there. Beautiful Chad Smith. And don't forget to pick up the El Ovni Volador shirt. You can get it in any color you want. I recommend something along this line. Nice blue goes along with it. Even the green looks good. All right? You can check that on out there. All right. And let's see. What else do we have here? Let's check on the woo factor for you, Jose. Hold on. Let me get back there. Where am I here? Woo factor. There we go. Woo factor. What do we got here for product here? You could get a woo factor hat. That you can get a woo factor hoodie. I don't know if we got woo factor stickers. If not, we can figure something out. Whoa, look at that shirt. That looks cool. In the woo factor, that looks cool. Black and gray tie-dye. Yeah. Yes, Alicia, there is Chad Smith t-shirts. How can you not love that? Woo Factor hats. We got some good stuff here. Don't forget, you can also get your Merle t-shirt. Merle. Merle, everybody. Yes. Get your Merle t-shirts. Everybody needs a Merle shirt, including a Merle sticker. You can get yourself a Merle chapeau right there. Look how nice that hat would look. Big Merle right there, fitting it, looking good. All right, this hat might even fit Fap's head. I'm just telling you right now. It may even fit Fap's head. You imagine seeing Fap rocking into our Vegas party, rocking his Merle hat? That's the way we need to go, people. Yeah, we're going to be adding more here very soon. There's our Element 115 alien gas station, Area 51 gas station. You got aliens like Joe? We got that too. We got a little bit of everything. A Woo Train t-shirt. I'm wearing my black Woo Train right now. Love this shirt. So check it on out. It's a good way to support what we do. And, God, Ben, you did such a good job. You did such a good job. Friggin' amazing. And, yeah, our entire site. I want to show you guys one other thing here. I just got to find it. Where did he put it? Right here. I'm going to quickly do this here, so hold on, because we are going to be coming back here momentarily. I'm going to show you. This is why I want the pictures, man. This is why I want the pictures. All right, so if you come here to the SOR fan zone, check this out. This is all the pictures of people who got our swag there. We want to make sure that you guys get your swag pictures up. I know some of you have sent them to me before that you guys have purchased previously. Somehow I've misplaced them. But if you could, resend them to me. I want to make sure they get up on the website and go from there. And, yeah, man. This is all thanks to Ben from UFO Garage doing this for us. So if you haven't subscribed to Ben and Joe's UFO Garage YouTube channel, make sure you do. Hit that subscribe button. They're big fans of ours. We're giant fans of theirs. So let's make sure that we make sure we take care of those guys too, because they need the love and support as well from the Spaced Out Radio audience. So check it on out. You got aliens, we got everything. Big thank you to Heidi, Waylon, Chad, Lee, and Black Dragon so far for the amazing super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show. Thank you to all the veterans tuning us in and the regulars. Here we go, hour 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. And on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. I have no idea what this is. Taga-Erm, I believe, is the password. Probably butchered that. But the clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Nora Funk. She's on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. She works with ET contactees through hypnotherapy and counseling. She's an experiencer herself. And right before the break, Nora, you were talking about your parents being followed in a vehicle by a UAP craft. Tell me about this.
So, as I was saying before the break, no matter how fast my dad was driving, the UAP just matched speed and kept the light forever just in front of the vehicle. And then all of a sudden they missed like 50 minutes of time. And they woke up, pulled over to the side of the road, only 15 minutes outside of our hometown. And that's all that they remembered. And that's, like I said, that happened when my mom was just at the end of her first trimester, going into her second trimester. There has been some talk about my grandmother as well, also seeing orbs in her bedroom when she was a young girl and into her 20s. So my grandma died when I was, before I hit 10 years of age. So I never got a chance to really talk to her about that. But there has been some talk within the family. So I firmly believe that the reason why I've been abducted and why my family was abducted is there's a something that's in our family. It's called inversion 3 chromosome, and it's the third chromosome. Part of the chromosome is actually inverted. And it's the main building blocks of a human being. So I've had family members born with things like no mouth and the intestines on the outside of the body and only living for a few hours. We have a lot of mentally or physically disabled people within our family because of this inversion 3 chromosome, and it was hereditary. So I was born and without being a carrier to that gene.
Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? Just eat lots of bananas, but peels only. And always be sweating, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Join now through September 16th for just $1 down and get back to a real routine with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Deal ends September 16th.
Join today for $1 down. Offer ends September 16th.
See Club for details.
We did it again. Verizon was just named America's most reliable network by Root Metrics for the 16th time in a row, proving once again that nobody builds networks like Verizon builds networks. That's why we're building 5G right. That's why there's only one best network, Verizon. Best and most reliable based on Root Metrics reports from second half 2013 to first half 2021 of 3 operators on all network types combined, not specific to 5G networks.
Or having anything wrong with me. But there was a high, a rate of losing babies in the family, so on and so forth. So, just to kind of build a little bit more history as to what was going on. So I firmly know now that the reason why I was being abducted was they were actually fixing things within my body for me to come forward now. And because we're starting on a new dawn, there's a lot of stuff coming down in the future, in the near future. And, there's more people that are having contact and having awakenings because of that, because we all have a mission. So.
For you, I mean, the aliens fixing your body, I mean, that's a good thing. So you've had the good and you've had the bad and you've had the ugly. with
Yes.
these.
Yeah.
Now, were they different species that were working on you each time?
No, the exact same two people, or if you want to call them people, but this exact same two. Never actually really referring to me and talking to me. It was always just no bedside manner. So it wasn't to sit, to look at me with those with compassion, or it was always under duress. And of course, at the time, I wasn't asking why. I was just struggling, trying to get away for the times that I remember. I know that there was a few times where the main doctor that would always kind of stand over me would kind of look at me, and I would have this sense of peace, but I also knew that that sense of peace was wrong because I didn't want to be there. So I always fought against almost like that feeling that they would try and wash over me. If that am I making any sense here?
I think you totally are.
Okay, good.
I think you totally are.
This is the first time that I've actually talked about this part, so it's like, trying to explain it all.
You're doing great. Just let it all come out naturally.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that's the long and short of it, I guess.
The taller one, the doctor that was working on you, what did he look like?
Very, very tall, probably 7 feet tall, maybe a little bit taller. Really slender, lanky, quite human looking, but not quite human looking. More profound, like stuck out cheekbones, really kind of trying to like mimic, it almost seemed like. And eyes were really big, much larger than ours. Hair was kind of like just all slicked back and blonde, but it didn't look real. And other than that, it was just, I never got a chance to see feet or anything because it was always just, I could never move. I could never like look down or like turn my head to look. So yeah, that's what he looked like.
Did they ever telepathically communicate with you the reasoning they chose you?
No. But when I was regressed, I understood.
What do you mean you understood?
Do we want to get into the regression, or do we want to talk more about...
I want to talk more about this. We'll get into the regression a little bit later.
Okay, so we'll reserve that for then, because everything will kind of make sense. There's still a lot of things that I don't understand. I don't know if I ever will, but I now have an understanding as to why. So, I don't think that it should have been done in the manner that it was done, giving me no choice. I don't think that, being ripped from family and ripped from my bed and, ripped from my toilet. I mean, quite literally one day I was, how when you go in the bathroom, I was in the middle of the day, I was going to take a bath. So I ran the tub, I stripped down like you normally would. I used the bathroom, and I've got my tub, right next to me, and it's filling. And then all of a sudden, I'm missing hours of time. And then when I came to, that was back in 2016, I was in a cold tub, and I had marks on my breast and marks over my ovaries. Now, they weren't incisions. They were suction cups marks. And it's in the form of a triangle. And that lasted for 3 days before the suction cup marks disappeared. And then a few weeks later, I had another abduction. And that's when I had triangle marks over my my right ovaries, but they weren't suction cup marks, and they were about 2 inches away from the original ones. And it took months for that to heal. As I said, Dave Palachuk did take a look at the photos, and what I found out from him just a month ago was he hasn't seen the triangle marks the way that I have had them in a really long time, because for the most part, most abductees in the recent years have been more getting the love and peace, and you know, they weren't being abducted and having experiments on them. And he had said to me that those triangle marks are very vindicative, and that if I took my photos and other abductees that have the same marks, if you put them and measured the angle of the and how wide, they're all the exact same. So the only thing that they can figure is it's like a 3-pronged something that is being used like an instrument on everybody that has it, because they're the exact same angle and the exact same measurements from all the abductees.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to go with that, to be honest. I really don't know where to go with that. The only thing that I have had happen to me that was of high strangeness like that was one summertime a couple of years ago. I woke up and I had 2 4-inch scratches about an inch apart on my back. And they were stutter scratches, much like a cat would scratch. And I remember thinking, that's odd.
It's a skin sample.
Yeah, this is weird.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I have to take a picture of this, but I had to go to the bathroom really bad. And after the bathroom, I totally forgot about it. You know, I even went back to the sink, washed my hands, go back into the kitchen to grab some breakfast, realized 4 hours later, forgot to take a picture of them, went back to my bedroom, took my shirt off, and I was going to take pictures of them, and they were gone. Completely gone. No scarring, no nothing. Vanished. I was like, you got to be kidding me here. Like, why would I forget to at that moment to take pictures of that? And it drives me nuts that I didn't do that. Drives me nuts to this day.
A lot of things, your memory's not clear after you've been abducted. And things sometimes almost seem like a cloud or a fog, even the next day. At least for me, sometimes 2 days. Like I'm there, I'm with it. But I find that my memory is lacking a little bit, or I'll forget to do things that I normally don't forget to do, you know, things like that. So that's very, at least common for me. So I can, you know, kind of acknowledge what you're saying, because it's happened.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's extremely weird when you go through that. Now, for you, with the markings, did you photograph all of these markings on you that you've had over the years? Were you keeping a record of them?
From 2016 onward, yes, because that's when my husband went, why aren't you documenting this? Before that, again, like I was scared. You know, I want to use the SH word, IT word, but I was really scared. And so I ran away from everything. Like I literally didn't want to watch documentaries. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to acknowledge that it was happening to me, you know, because I was living it through PTSD. I was living it through my nightmares, as I was living it even when I didn't want to, and trying to shove it, you know, back down in that deep, dark hole, because I just wanted to be normal. I just didn't want it to happen anymore. So, you know, yeah.
I would be remiss to ask, and I wouldn't be doing my job properly if I didn't ask the following questions. And that would be, at any point during this entire phenomena, did you ever question your own sanity? Did you go get checked out by a psychologist or a psychiatrist in order to see if what was really happening to you was happening?
No. Because I knew it was happening. It was happening in the middle of the day. It would be one thing if it was happening only at night when I was asleep, and then I kind of woke up and had an inkling that something was going on. But no, because they were taking me while I was awake. And I have no sign of mental illness in my family whatsoever. And, it wasn't something that I thought that I was crazy. I knew what was going on. I didn't have any doubt, but it just seemed so unbelievable and, not something that you would talk about, and especially not in polite company, because people would think that you're crazy. And, I never really questioned my sanity, not ever, because, I'm me and I knew what was going on. Trying to deal with it on the other hand was something else.
You trusted yourself.
I did, yes.
And you had faith in yourself that what was happening was real. Now, did it ever get to the point with you that when they were taking you, you were wide awake, like you and I talking right now, outside of the bathroom incident?
Yes. It's happened when I was, like I said, when I was 6. I was outside and they took me up. I was in a bright light. I literally got raised up like you would see in a movie. And, most of the other ones were mostly at night. There was only one other time that had happened in my 30s. And I was actually out camping. And I was out by myself. I grew up in Newfoundland, so camping and hiking and fishing and hunting and rabbit catching and all those things kind of go along with growing up in a place like that. So I was just out camping for a night or two, and I went missing. So nobody else there to say it, but it happened in the middle of the day, and I got back that night. And I didn't actually stay the day or two. I went home. I packed up everything. I literally just pulled it all, and didn't even, fold up the tent that got dealt with when I got home, type thing. And I never went camping by myself again.
Wow. What's it like to have missing time?
This is where the PTSD comes in, because what ends up happening is a lot of times you have an inkling. And times I had memories, but they were only little fragments of memories. And, in the time that I, was sitting on the can, there's a couple hours that were missing. And I know that was a couple hours because Brandon, my husband, was coming home, and he worked and got off at 3:15. And, he was coming in the door when I was sitting in the tub in the cold water. And he's like, "Honey, I'm home," type thing. And, I'm waking up with marks on my body in a cold tub. And, having that feeling that something had happened, and, not understanding how I got from, not turning off the tap of the water and sitting in a cold tub when I was literally sitting on the toilet. So, it's really weird. Your brain starts to try and fill in the gaps, and a lot of panic happens because our memories, or not our memories, but our minds tend to go places that we don't want to go, because you want to know. And when you don't know and you're missing that time, You're trying everything that you can, and then you play that what if game. What if this happened? What if that happened? Oh my God, like what just happened to me? What's going on? Why are these marks here? So, all those things. And then, I would go to bed and put the blankets over my head and hide there for a couple of days. I mean, I'm afraid to go out, afraid to venture into the world.
Did you lose any employment over this?
No. But I will say this. I had migraines a lot. I am a migraine sufferer, but there were times that I had to call in sick, and it's not as if I'm going to say to my employer what's going on. So I had another migraine. And that migraine might last 2 or 3 days, and that's how I kind of got around it. And, I hate to say it, but I kind of abused that, but I didn't really have a choice, because how are you supposed to say to your employers without them going, I think you need to go see a psychiatrist,
Oh, trust me, I totally agree with you on that. What kind of side effects did you have? Did you ever wake up with bloody pillows from a nosebleed? Did you ever wake up, besides the markings, did you ever wake up with other physical ailments outside of the markings?
So, over the years, I've developed arthritis. On this hand, right in between my ring finger and my middle finger, I used to get these 2-pronged marks all the time. After an abduction, I would wake up with these prong marks. Dave had mentioned a month ago that he's seen them before, and he believes that they were to check vitals. Don't know why they would need to do that to check vitals, but whatever, that's just a guess. But here, this middle finger is so bad now, and it's always swollen, that it almost feels like gout. There's no gout in it, but there is arthritis, and I can't close it any more than this. It's a gimp finger now, and I'm always in pain. A lot of times I've had marks on my wrists, my finger joints, and my ankles, and I now have arthritis in my my feet and also in my hands. So, there's been times when I haven't been able to. I woke up with laser marks on all of my joints, literally every joint in my body, and taking months to heal. And I couldn't bend my leg for almost 6 weeks once.
Oh my goodness!
And yeah.
I'm gonna get you to hold on right there, because we are going to continue your incredible story of what it's like to deal with a life of ET contact and abduction, missing time, body pain. Nora Funk from Vancouver Island, British Columbia, tells her incredibly amazing encounters with extraterrestrials. It continues right after this. All right, we're clear. You literally have our audience on the edge of their seats right now. You're doing marvelously.
It's really weird to talk about so openly. It really is.
I'll tell you a story right here of what happened to me. I was getting really deep before my ET encounters started. I was getting really deep into channeling. And I was channeling one night for Samantha Mowat, who was over at my house. And Samantha is incredible. She's a regular here on the show. And literally 25 minutes after meeting her, I saw aliens in a forest.
Wow.
Okay. And so she wanted me to try and channel this home of her alien who she calls her alien brother Daniel, up in Lyra.
Okay.
So I start getting into my zone. I channel in this area, and the only thing that I can see is this really tall aquamarine type building that literally goes up for miles from the ground, and there's gold at every
Wow.
edge. It's all gold, and I'm telling her this, and then all of a sudden I got zoomed out, and you know in Star Trek when they go through to warp speed and all the stars all of a sudden become that white tunnel?
Mm-hmm.
I went through with something like that. And I strained my entire vocal cords, and I hurt myself coming out of there because it was like G-forces were pulling me up. And it,
Trust me, I get it. Yeah.
So, anyways, I go through this. I all of a sudden.
Anyone can be ready for back to school. But with Staples Connect, you can be more than ready. Like, I got everything on my list and saved a ton ready. Staples has everything you need and more for the new school year. Just visit your nearest Staples store or go to staplesconnect.com for inspiration. Anyone can be ready for back to school. But with Staples Connect, you can be more than ready. Like, I got everything on my list and saved a ton ready. Staples has everything you need and more for the new school year. Just visit your nearest Staples store or go to staplesconnect.com for inspiration.
Slam back into my body, and I almost fall off the chair, and I am coughing. And it's real painful coughing. Like there's nothing to come up. There's nothing there. I can't take down any water. I just am coughing. And I'm hurting myself as I'm doing this because my entire throat and everything hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, I finally calmed myself down. But a couple of days later, my chest started hurting so bad. My chest hurt the next day from the coughing. The following day, it was horrible. Horrible.
Wow.
So much so, I actually thought I was having a heart attack. And I remember it was my men's poker night that night. And I remember saying, screw this, I got to go to the hospital. Like, I swore I was having a heart attack. And I raced to the hospital. I get into emergency, tell them what's going on. I having heart attack-like symptoms. And so they go in, they put me on one of those, where they test your heartbeat and everything. And my doctor is working the ER room that day. And he comes in and he goes, Dave, your entire vocal cords and chest cords have been stretched right out. He goes, what did you do? What happened? And I looked at him and I said, you're not going to believe me, Doc, so I'm not even going to tell you. And he goes, try me. So I tell him the entire story of what happened. I said, so I'm going to give you the truth right now, and you're not going to believe me. And I told him the entire story, and he goes, you're right, I don't believe you. Here's some medication, and you've got a completely bruised chest right now.
Wow.
And go get some rest.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But the good part I was not having a heart attack. The reason why it affected my vocals cords was my neck felt like it was stretching, Fat Bass. Okay, it felt like it was stretching up, and that my head was like my shoulders were pinned down, and my head just kept on going up and up and up, and it was the weirdest thing. And so when I slammed back in my body, it was like everything kind of collapsed and then reset, and I just started coughing like anything. And that's what strained my vocal cords and my entire chest muscles. It was...
That's wild.
Yeah. That was crazy. Crazy. So I kind of know what you're going through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt.
We got 20 seconds. I want to say a big thank you to Flash Forward, Heidi, Waylon, Chad Smith, Lee, and Black Dragon for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you so much. To all the veterans listening in tonight, we love you. You always have a safe place in our chat room. Thank you for tuning us in. And to all our regulars, here we go. Let's do this. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to find us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight learning about real, true experiences. Nora Funk is here. She's a hypnotherapist. She is an ET contactee. She helps others who are dealing with their ET contact situations as well. And we are, if you haven't heard the remainder or the previous part of this show, you are definitely going to want to listen to this one on our archives. It is absolutely incredible and at points terrifying with her ET contact. Nora, welcome back.
Thanks.
I want to ask you, with all the contact that you have had, a lot of people will say if you turn to religion, ask for Jesus Christ to help you or other deities to help you stop this, that for some it actually works. Have you ever tried stopping this?
So, as a teenager, I rebelled really hard. I got into a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol. I'm clean and been clean and sober since I was 18. And they were pretty heavy drugs, because I was trying to cope and deal with it, so on and so forth. When I was 18, I'm going to put this in quotes, I found God. My parents were very, very religious Roman Catholic, going to prayer meetings, even to the point that my father, when he retired, he was going to church and serving on the altar 7 days a week. Literally. So if that gives you any indication as to, how I grew up. And so to deal with it all, I did seek out God. I actually went to Bible college to become a youth pastor, believe it or not. I left school. My son got sick, and I had to leave school, and I never ended up going back. But I was fairly religious. I'm now very spiritual, but I wouldn't say that I'm religious. But that's because experiences, and belief systems change, when you see things and different things are revealed to you. And the statistic is when you go to Bible college, 50% of people that go to Bible college, at least this was the statistic back in 1999 when I was in school, 50% of people that go to Bible college never follow God again. So I was one of those people. So, but yeah, I did seek out God. I did seek out, anything and everything, because I just needed to try and soothe my soul, because I was so troubled.
How did you try and find some other vice to take your mind off of this? A lot of people smoke, or they smoke marijuana, or they drink, or they do other things to try and take their mind away from this. What did you do? I
drank a lot. I smoked a lot of weed. It moved into cocaine. I became a cocaine addict for a lot of my teenage years. I was doing drug running to pay for my habit, shall we say. And, some very good people. My mom didn't know what to do. I would hear her crying every night, praying to God to, save me, basically. But she didn't understand what was going on, And, I was just trying to deal with everything that I had already encountered. Because, the abduction started again when I was 13. So, I ended up, basically diving into drugs and And because I really liked the high of the cocaine, it made me forget everything. It made me feel high and happy and fast, and I could do everything. I was God. And yeah, and it was a hard road. I mean, I've been clean since I was 18, but there was a lot of years there that I don't know how I lived.
It was a coping mechanism to make it all go away. That's the easy answer to it all. So for you, as you gave up the habits and gave up the vices in order to deal with this, did you just all of a sudden come to a conclusion in your own brain that this was something that you're going to just have to live with? Or do you still battle it today?
Well, I don't battle, like, I know that I'll never, ever, ever go back to drugs again. That's just a coping mechanism, and it doesn't solve anything. You've got to take your problems and deal with them head on and sort through everything, because that's the only way to heal. Other than that, you're going to just substitute anything that you can to cover that void and to try and fill a hole that can't be filled. And that's whether it's, any traumatic. It doesn't matter whether it's abductions or abuse or anything in between. It doesn't solve anything. All it does is just cover it up so that you can forget, but you don't forget. The minute that you put the bottle down, or you don't take that last little snort of Coke, all that comes flooding back. So, it was just time to take a charge of my life again and, leave that behind. And I mean, do I crave? Absolutely. I don't think, as an addict, I don't think that you can ever stop craving. But, it's not part of my life anymore, and nor would I ever want it to be.
I have a couple.
It's not real.
I have a couple questions from our audience here for you, and we are going to start off with Dr. Zed Smith. He might be in America, but we'll give him the English version. Dr. Zed Smith. Nora, what is your perspective with God and aliens? Are aliens evil? Do you think they have a soul? What was it they wanted from you?
Okay, so
that's happening there.
That's a lot. So let's unpack that. So what's my perspective with God and aliens? I believe in a source. Do I believe in an actual almighty God? No. If you want to take a look at a lot of people, within the UFO community, they firmly believe that God and religions were actually created because of aliens. And I think I have to tend to agree with that. If you take a look throughout history and you take a look at all of the cave paintings and all of the pottery and you name it, I mean, there has been aliens that have been on this earth for forever, and they've always been watchers. There's always been stories among, all different people on this earth and within tribes and you name it. And they all pretty much have a lot of the same similarities. So, I don't firmly believe in a God as in there is, Jesus Christ and God and Holy Spirit and things like that. But I do believe that there is a source, and that our soul is part of that source. And the great I am is within us and within everything. That's my belief system now. Are aliens evil? Well, I think that just like human beings, we've got some good ones and we've got some bad ones. I kind of tend to believe the same thing with aliens because, there's a lot of different alien species out there. And, just like there's a lot of people here on this earth. And are all people on earth good? No. So, and yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that they have a soul. They're all part of us. I mean, that's the thing. My belief system now is this body that I'm wearing is a meat suit. It's a vessel that carries my soul. So my body is fleeting, but my soul is eternal. And even within hypnotherapy, there is people that have been regressed back that their past life was not human. So Earth is almost like a testing ground. It's to learn your life lessons. You may repeat things. I've met people that have, been on, number 40 in their past lives. I know people that have been 130 something in their past lives, that they've lived that many times. So yes, I wholeheartedly believe that they have a soul, because I think we're all one. And I think that, and what did they want from me? There was a few things that they wanted from me. They wanted to check DNA because of the unique happenstance within my family with the inversion 3 chromosome. And it was also something in my past life that I had requested to come back. And we'll get into that very soon. But let's table that one. What was it that they wanted from me? Because I will talk about that when we talk about my regression.
All right. Let's get to another question here from Tony. Hello, Nora. What made you go to Reiki over God or Christianity?
Well, when I was in school, and you study a lot of things. So before you go to Bible college, you read your Bible and, you pray, and depending on, which religion, Quran, it doesn't matter. When you go to school, you learn more. So I had a chance to take a step back, and I looked at things like the language that was used today comparatively to Jesus Christ's time. Like if I say the words, "that's cool," we know what that means, but that would not be the same thing that it meant 2,000 years ago. So when you start studying history, plus the Bible, plus what, everything and words meant back then comparatively to now, when you look at, when you're at school and you start learning world religions and different ideas and different beliefs, because you need to study all of that, you really start seeing a lot of the same pieces in all religions. And then you really start getting to pick apart what's man-made and what wasn't. Because there was commonalities and common threads through all of the religions. So that made me really kind of take a step back and look at everything and go, well, if this is true and this is true and it's being repeated, I have to tend to believe that this is more truth. What about this piece and this piece? So you start really starting to tear things apart. In regards to Reiki, I've always had healing hands. Like at one point in time, I was, very Pentecostal, because I had moved over to the Pentecostal church. And, I had the whole water baptism again and speaking in tongues on Sunday night and all those things, and my realization now is whether you meditate or whether you're using Reiki or whether you're praying over people, it's all using the same. It's the same. You're bringing your vibrations up. You're sending intentions out into the world. And those intentions can move mountains. If you have more people, whether you want to believe in Christ and say where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in their midst, and having that power, or if I am laying hands on somebody with Reiki and I'm allowing the healing to go through me from the ether, or I'm sitting down and meditating or doing Kundalini, it's all the same. It's just here on Earth, we have learned to separate, and everything is separated, and everyone is pitted up one against the other. And, it's a construct. It's not real. We're the ones that are doing it to ourselves. So, with Reiki, that's I feel good and I feel whole. And when I'm using Reiki and I'm healing people, I'm also healing myself. The healing energy is flowing through me as well. So that's why I've taken to Reiki over other things. But yeah, I hope I answered your question.
You did an amazing job. I got a couple more questions before we're going to get into your hypnotherapy regression here. Tony follow-up is asking, is it possible the ETs are the source you speak of?
Yes. It's possible. I think that in my understanding, because, as a hypnotherapist, and I also do past life regressions and Akashic record. So I can actually take somebody through into their subconscious and rise them up past and beyond their life so that they can take a look at their own Akashic records. So they can see all the lives that they've actually lived. And they can read the book of life, their own book of life, and see the commonalities. And, and also the things that you've messed up and you keep repeating. And where was I going with this? My goodness. What was the question again? Because I will tie it back. I promise you.
It was in regards to whether or not they are the source.
Right. So I think we're all part of the same source. I think that there is, different ones that have lived a lot longer than us, millions and millions of years. I think there's advanced species, but our souls, we're all one, like all of us. It doesn't matter whether we're on Earth or anywhere. We're all living beings. We're all part of the same universe. We're all part of the, stardust and energy and, so yeah.
No, I totally get that, and I can totally appreciate that. I want to get to another question from Tony here. Do you know where the ones abducting you, are from?
Never asked. Well, it's not that I didn't ask. And
Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? Just eat lots of bananas, but peels only. And always be sweating, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Join now through September 16th for just $1 down and get back to a real routine with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Deal ends September 16th.
Join today for $1 down. Offer ends September 16th.
See Club for details.
Anyone can be ready for back to school. But with Staples Connect, you can be more than ready. Like, I got everything on my list and saved a ton ready. Staples has everything you need and more for the new school year. Just visit your nearest Staples store or go to staplesconnect.com for inspiration.
Have the opportunity to. Now I'm starting to develop a different kind of relationship. And at one point, I will have the opportunity to ask that question, but no, for lack of better,
Okay. All right. Well, let's look at everything else here in regards to questions from our audience, because I do want to start with your regression. But one more question. A couple people have asked, what did they smell like?
So the grays smell horrible. It is horrendous. At least it's like sulfur. It's putrid. The other ones don't really smell, but the gray that has always been there, like the nurse type thing, it's always been a really bad smell coming from that end of the table. So,
like, what would you put it towards?
Sulfur, eggs, sour gas, and something dead all at the same time.
Well, that's just disgusting. You know what's
Right.
funny? You know what's funny is that is almost the exact same smell that many people believe in the paranormal is what demons smell like.
Interesting. Because of the sulfur, maybe?
The sulfur type smell. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's start. We got 3.5 minutes here. What made you turn to regression?
So it was part of me becoming the healer that I want to become. Like I said, I've always known even as a child that I was supposed to either teach or I was supposed to, be a counselor or a healer. That was something that I've always, and it came to the point that it's something that was always interested me, and the mind boggles me. And it has to do with everything that's ever happened to me, because a lot of stuff got buried in my subconscious. And it always fascinated me that, this pseudo new science, well, not new because it's been around for a long period of time, but to a lot of the public, it's still kind of woo-woo. And a lot of people don't, they're changing. So it always fascinated me that you could go into a deep relaxation and access things, because our subconscious is where our emotions and a lot of memories, that's where they get stored. So you may not remember something in the here and now, but in the subconscious, it's still stored. So I can even regress somebody back to when they were 6 years old on May 7th at 4 p.m. and ask you what you're wearing. And you'll be able to say, oh, well, I was 7 and I was wearing jeans that day with a polka dot shirt. And so you literally know what you're wearing. So that always really, really, fascinated me that was a possible thing. So when I got into it, it was in the understanding that it was a way for me to explore myself a little further, because part of that hypnosis is you get to learn self-hypnosis. So through self-hypnosis and through meditation, I was able to bring back a lot more memories. And it wasn't until I went through the secondary course, which is a past life regression Akashic records with therapeutic therapeutic principles, that was when my awakening happened. That's what interested me, was more about myself, but also something that I would be able to use more so than my life coaching, because life coaching isn't quite counseling. It's more leading people and keeping people accountable through incredible change in their life, and to help guide them, for them to be the best that they can be at whatever they want to be. So, yeah.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And on that note, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. And for the next half hour, we are going to get very into the fact of what came out of the regression therapy. We're going to take this to the bottom of the hour. Nora Funk is our guest as we go into hour number 3, talking ET contact and regression. And then the UAP report with John Hudson, the news, thought of the day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. And we're clear. That's good stuff right there. Good stuff. You having fun yet?
Well, it's been interesting. It's been an interesting evening.
It always is.
Yeah.
Always is. Let me just go here. Come on. There we go. Sorry, I'm just trying to get some stuff cleared out here.
No, it's all good. But, with that being said, with the question that's still up there from Michael Leger or Leger, however you pronounce it.
Michael Leger.
Leger.
Michael Leger, yes.
So, what did they smell like? The one that was in my bedroom, though, did not smell the same. And I'm thinking about it. I didn't smell anything. I had that weird feeling and all that, but he didn't smell the same.
In my encounters that I've had with aliens and the one time that I came across a couple of Sasquatch, I have never smelled anything. Ever. I heard them talking.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that one that was always there always smelled horrible. So I don't know if it was something that they were wearing or what. But yeah, the one that was in the bedroom that showed up back in 2019, it didn't have a smell.
Hey, gorgeous Wendy Williams, how you doing? There we go. And we got like 4 minutes. This is good times. Good times, Nora Funk. A lot of people happy with you. Sonny Conway, how you doing, buddy? Don't forget, guys, while we're here, all right, our brand new website is up and running. I'm going to quickly give you a little show here. Sorry, Nora.
No, it looks good. I was there today.
Shameless self-promotion. That's the website. The shows that are coming on up here. And the previous shows that we've had. There's us running live on Spreaker right now. And our partners. And then, of course, you can do some shopping. Who needs an I Am Chad Smith rent shirt out there? Or how about a Merle shirt? Who needs a Merle shirt? You do. That's what you need. This is our Instagram there, if you're not following us on Instagram. And we'll scroll back up. And this is the store right here. Real simple to go to. Now, there is more product than just shirts. So let's say you wanted, let's go a Merle shirt. And you wanted a... Come on. Why aren't you working here? Ben! We got to visit a shop, that's why. Okay, maybe that's not working right now. For some reason, it's not working for me. But, let's go here. Weird. Okay. We'll get that figured out. Still some ticks. There's the hosts. There's me. There's Lynn. And the Newswire. The Fan Zone. We want your pictures. So you can email us pictures with you wearing our swag. All right. We got some more to put up of you wearing our swag. So that way we can say hello to you properly. And put you up there. Our radio affiliates that we are on. Some people say we're not on radio stations. Aha! There we are, everyone. Right there. And where you can listen to the podcasts. And, of course, our man Bumblefoot. Our vault. This is our previous episodes. If you want to check any on out right there. The Dirty Filth art section right there. You go check out his cartoons. There's me and Sean Cahill. If you need to contact us with advertising or appearances, right there. We got a little bit of everything going on here. So make sure you check it on out, everyone. We'd appreciate that. We definitely would. And let me go like this. All right. We've got about 1 minute here. 1 minute. So, hope you like that. Where the hell are all these webcam crap coming up here? I thought we're blocking them. I know he did. I checked. All right. 20 seconds. Big thank you to Aussie Rob, Flash Forward, Heidi, Waylon, Chad, Lee, and Black Dragon for the super chats. Thank you to all the veterans tuning us in and listening to this show, and all our regulars out there who are hanging out and having a good time with us. We're going to get going right now.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you are listening in on one of our terrestrial affiliates around North America, thank you so much for tuning us in. And, of course, all of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Before we get to the clam, we also want to mention our digital affiliates, KPNL. We are on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio as well. And the Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Tagarm. Probably wrong. Probably Tag Harem. Yeah, the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. You can do a little shopping. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. And finally tonight, hit us up on Twitter, @SpacedOutRadio, and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduced Nora Funk. What an amazing story of extraterrestrial contact and AT abduction she has had. She lives off the coast of British Columbia, and now she helps with hypnotherapy and helping people talk about their own ET encounters. Nora, we're getting into your regression here. What were you able to learn what was happening to you?
So it was a freak. I did not actually go to a hypnotherapist to be regressed specifically for remembering. I actually had, what had happened was with my trainer, Hypno Healing Institute, I was trained by Debbie Papadakis out of Toronto. And when I had went to the past life regression course to take, what ends up happening is when you're taking the course, they'll take an entire class of people and you don't actually talk, but they want you to experience what a past life regression feels like. In your learning before you start practicing it and doing those things and learning more. So what ended up happening, now you got to understand, like from the past that we've talked about, I was afraid. I ran away from everything. I wouldn't watch any documentaries. I would, I was afraid. I was suffering from PTSD, and even then I wasn't really fully talking about it. And I didn't want anything to do with it. So when I went through this past life regression, and she took the entire class through, there's a point in time within the script that she was using that it says, you're going back through when you're 15 years old, then you go back to when you're about 4 or 5 years old, and then you go back through the womb and into the blue mist. And then from the blue mist, you step back onto the earth in your past life. And when you plant your feet down upon the earth, they want you in the script, or the therapist wants you to just concentrate on one thing. So for her, it was, I want you to look at your feet. What are you wearing on your feet? I had blue knobby toes, and I started to panic, because how did I have blue knobby toes? So as she's going through everything, I realized that in my past life I was Arcturian. And there's a part in the script where it actually starts to talk about, is there anything that your past life self wants to convey to your present life self? And vice versa, is there anything that your present life self wants to convey back to your, past life self? And I had a download dump of information. Like, I kid you not. It was like literally if I had a 10 gig little USB drive that got plugged into my brain just like a computer, and I had massive file download dump happen. It was absolutely crazy. I have the actual hour and 37-minute regression that had happened, because I contacted my trainer anyways, to make to shorten that up, I didn't want to talk about it because there wasn't anything that, because it was kind of like a group led thing, and I didn't want to see anything. I forced myself out of the regression because I was panicking. And, at the end, everybody was talking about the regressions, and I blurted out that, and in tears, that I didn't want to talk about it because I was still in that fear state. And so at the end of that class, Debbie, my trainer, said, Nora, I want you to kind of stay behind. I want to talk about what happened. So, as a good trainer should. So when I told her that I had blue feet and that I was Arcturian, she started to giggle, because at this point in time, I hadn't really dealt with any regressions, right? Like, I was doing hypnotherapy, but it wasn't any regression work. So this was my first experience with regression. And of course, it made me kind of acknowledge a lot more than I ever would have. And she said to me that, in her almost 30 years of being a hypnotherapist, that she's had a lot of people come, sit in her chair that actually have had past lives in, like, other beings, not just human. And so that was something that I had to swallow, and it took me a couple weeks. And when I had come back to, after a couple weeks, she had wanted, to do another regression or a past life regression. And I volunteered because I had a couple of weeks to sit with it and meditate on it and try and make things, because I knew I needed to face it. So I asked Debbie, I'm like, can I do it? So in front of my entire class, and there was 14 others, they regressed me back again. And I got to talk about what was going on in my, what I was experiencing in my past life. And at one point in time, after that huge download dump that I was talking about, she had asked me to look with an adult understanding at my body in my past life, just as I was about to die. And I felt me take my last breath. And I felt my entire soul burst out of its chest. And Dave, as you were talking about, like zooming across the universe, that's exactly what happened to me. It was almost like the same idea as what you were referring to. That's why I was like, I know what you're talking about, because I literally, it was like I was zooming across the earth, and then I felt myself being born and hearing my mother cry out. And it was the most powerful, incredible experience that I've ever had. But when all of that happened and I had that huge download dump, looks like you got a moth.
Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? Just eat lots of bananas, but peels only. And always be sweating, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Join now through September 16th for just $1 down and get back to a real routine with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Deal ends September 16th.
Join today for $1 down. Offer ends September 16th.
See club for details.
Okay, so you won't believe this. I mean, I sure couldn't. The deals at Kohl's right now, they're epic. I got the cutest fall tops from Sonoma Goods for Life for $10.99. $19.99 sneakers I can wear everywhere. And I picked up a Keurig coffee maker for less than $100. Amazing, right? I even got some Kohl's cash. So ready to break out all the layers and pumpkin spice everything. It's fall, y'all. Select styles. Sale ends September 12th. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
I do have a moth in the studio. This sucker's been bugging me for like 5 days. 5 days. Jerk.
Yeah. So when that happened and I had that download dump, there was a lot of information that kind of came to me, and it was planned. And, I've seen other people that I've kind of eaten myself sneered at, because, the whole, I'm great and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not that person. But I do know that I've been abducted many, many times over. And I do know that they were preparing me for more. And they were studying my family. I know those things. It was that whole download dump that I got that information, that I now knew what they were trying to do and trying to accomplish. My Reiki exponentially got better for healing, and everything changed. Literally, absolutely everything changed. And I had this knowing, I guess, and this peace within myself that, and a lot of abductees talk about that. It's almost like, once they get abducted, they have this love and peace, and, the aliens are just wonderful people, and all they want is to, bring peace upon the earth, and, all the things that you always hear. And that was when my awakening happened, and that understanding. And, since then, I've been meditating, and I've been regressed a few times, since then, and that kind of thing. And I'm just getting more and more information. And after that, that huge download dump, we talked about a lot of stuff, even things to do with Mars and what was going on Mars before Mars died out, and different things like that, and all of the water canals that were on Mars, and all those things before they even started talking about it really in the news, which really freaked me out because I have it, all on camera. It's all taped. But yeah, that's what happened to me. And then I just had this understanding that at this point in time, I'll say the powers that be, but they are wanting to. We're getting to a point in our consciousness and in our existence now that things are going to start changing, and 4D is possible. And the amount of turmoil and the amount of what's happening here on the earth, it can't sustain itself. So it's almost like a timeline that has been sped up because it needs to happen, or else we're going to destroy ourselves. And not only are we going to destroy ourselves, the multiverses. That's like, again, a big, massive download dump that's happened. You know, a lot of people can't figure out why there's more and more UFO sightings these days and things like that. And when you look at the military and you look at the vessels that they're using, they're all nuclear. So the nuclear submarines, nuclear warheads that are on all of the bases, where the aliens are by far and large showing up, it's all because of what we're using. And when they were detonated, for Hiroshima and, Project Trinity and, all those, it didn't just shake our world. It was exponentially worse in all of the multiverses. So we're not only a killer of a world, we are a killer of worlds. So they really had to start kicking into gear. And, there's been a big upheaval, more so now because we keep producing more and more. A lot of the places, like a lot of people don't realize, but Newfoundland is a hotbed as well for UFO activity. And we all know the reason why back in Newfoundland. If you want to do a Google search and Google uranium in Newfoundland, we are filled with uranium. So they are always there. They're always watching. Same thing with the Antarctica and all the places, that there's any amount of uranium or any amount of nuclear weapons, they're there. They're watching because it's bleeding into other worlds,
right,
or into other multiverses, right? So
I want to ask you, earlier on in the show, you said that you had an implant come out of your nose. What happened there?
So this was back in 2017. There's a lot of stuff we haven't talked about, actually. But back in 2017, I woke up in the middle of the night. I couldn't breathe. I literally sat straight up in bed, and I was like, because I couldn't breathe. And I could feel something on this side of my face right here, and it was moving. And I'm like, what the hell? And it literally felt like I had a really bad sinus infection. I couldn't breathe. The whole thing was pulsing. My eye felt like it was going to pop out of my head. And I was like, okay, so it's in the middle of the night. I go and get in a shower because I want to turn on the hot water as hot as I can, because I'm thinking that I need to try and break up whatever the heck is going on with my sinus. And I could start feeling something kind of like moving. And I'm like, what the hell? So I literally, as I'm standing in the shower, I'm like taking my finger and holding my nose like this. And I'm trying to like blow to try and see what the heck this is. So now I've got a bulging nostril and there's something wedged up in my nostril. So I have a pair of tweezers that were on the back of the toilet. So I, kind of reached out of the shower, grabbed the tweezers, and I'm like literally trying to pull this thing out of my nostril. And what it looked like, if you know what a nose polyp looks like, it's like a round circular globule of tissue, basically like human tissue. And when I pulled it out, I mean, I was horrified, and I put it on the side of the tub, and I still had the tweezers in my hand. So I freaked out, and I literally threw it in the toilet because, again, didn't want anything to do with anything like that, and that scared the out of me, right? And so I literally fished it out of the toilet, and I had like a second thought. I'm like, no, you need to see what this is. So I broke it open, and when I broke it open, I had my my phone, because I think we all have our cell phones attached at the hip. So I usually play music on my cell phone when I go to take a shower. So I grabbed my phone, and as I actually opened it, broke open that tissue or the polyp, there was a little black thing, and it wasn't anything like I've really seen before, because it wasn't like a metal little minuscule thing that you would look at when you if you do a Google search, because trust me, I have tried to find something that remotely looked like this. It looked like little plastic almost fibers, so minuscule, and they were all interwoven, almost like if I took a couple strands of really long hair and I did this, and so it was just really small and really bound up. And when I opened up that tissue, I broke one of them, and a spark let off, and the entire tissue lit up in red as it died off. And I actually snapped a photo as that was happening.
Where is that photo and implant now?
The implant is flushed down the toilet. I kick my behind, let me tell you what, of doing that. But at the time I was so terrified, and the whole idea of, oh my God, this is how they've been finding me. So I wanted as far away as humanly possible. So I flushed it. But I did manage to keep the photo. The photo I still have. So, I can send that to you, Dave. That's not a problem.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so that's what happened. And, I was terrified. But, there's other things that have happened to me. Like, they had one of the times I was living in Edmonton, and I was living on the basement. In my head, I don't know why, but in my head, I thought that if I was in like a ground floor apartment, aliens wouldn't be able to abduct me. I don't know why I thought that, but in my head, they wouldn't be able to get in. Well, boy, was I wrong. With my husband Brandon beside me, they had abducted me, and then when they were laying me back down in the bed, they were literally, I was coming down from the ceiling, and I was a little off kilter, and I ended up nailing my forearm against the corner of the night table. And because it was like right in between the two muscles, it really hurt because it was right on that corner. So my eye shot open because I was in pain. And when my eye shot open, I actually saw the portal close in my ceiling. And that really tripped me out. And I ended up waking my husband and crying and freaking out because it happened again. But, and I was in the basement, and there's 3 other levels above me. So, I still abducted me through my ceiling.
We only have 2 minutes left to go with you tonight. And I want to say thank you so much for being so brave to come on here and tell your story to the public, really to the radio side of things for the first time. And we really appreciate learning your story. And I'm pretty sure there's probably a million questions we could ask you in probably another 5 or 6 shows that we couldn't even scratch the surface. For you, what do you do now, as we got about 90 seconds?
So now I just have a new understanding, right? There's a lot of things that I didn't understand and didn't make sense, nor did I look for the answers. But since the regression, I now have a piece about everything, and it is what it is, and I'm here, and I know now that, I'm on the path that I'm supposed to be on. And, for anyone out there that is suffering in silence or needing to deal with some of the things that are happening, come see me, because I don't want anybody to go through what I've gone through. Like, it's not healthy. And, I would rather help you and get healing and answers than to go on the way that I have. And, that's the long and short of it. And, I don't care about money. I don't. If you're suffering, come see me. I will help.
What's your website?
It's zentideswellness.com. So that's ZENTIDES wellness, WELLNESS.com.
Nora Funk, thank you so much for telling us your story on Spaced Out Radio. Definitely want to do this again with you. Absolutely amazing, and so proud we had this opportunity to speak with you. Coming up next, John Hudson is here. We have the unbiased UFO report. We got the news wire from Shirky Poo, and the thought of the day. Stay tuned. Final half hour of Spaced Out Radio is right after this. Holy cow, girl. That was awesome.
I got through it.
You did fantastic.
I was so nervous,
Everybody wants to have you back. Everybody.
Oh, spooky. Thank you.
Here's another one. Not enough funk. Yeah, everybody is loving you tonight. There's some claps for you. More claps for you. Solid show from Bob. Susan
factor.
Absolutely loves you. Jenny. Oh, yeah. People are loving you. Loving you. Look at this.
As long as I'm making a difference, that's all I care, honestly.
Well, you're going to have to come back. You're going to have to come back and give us an update.
I'd love to. It was a lot of fun tonight, Dave.
Well, we knew we would, and this is why, and I'm just going to say to our audience, because sometimes I take a little heat for bringing on experiencers over not the scientific people. This is the exact stories we need to hear. We need to hear this is going on from real people, not somebody in a suit who works for a university who says that doesn't happen because I've never seen it happen or it's scientifically impossible. This was amazing. Amazing encounters, and your recall has been phenomenal, and you deserve a lot of praise. Thank you so much.
I'm just glad that, it went off without, I'm just glad that things went okay.
Always feel free to come on into our chat room. I know everybody in the chat room would love to see you there, and on YouTube, because we're here nightly. And you're one of us now. You're one of us, so come on in.
We own the night. Woo!
You got that right. Nora, we'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Have a great evening, guys.
And can you send me that picture?
I will, absolutely. I'll send it to you on Messenger.
Now,
okay?
do you mind if I share that with my audience?
That's fine.
Okay.
I have them all on Facebook, but it's in a hidden folder. Mm-hmm. That way, if I need to, I have access to it wherever I go.
Okay.
And so that's where I have it. So I'll just send you the photo, and if there's anything else that you're curious about, I've got.
Yeah.
I probably have about a dozen photos. So
right. Perfect. Love you. Take care.
All right. Ciao.
Bye-bye. That made me happy. That was unbelievable. Like in a awesome way.
Oh, I mean, at so many different levels. I mean, from the point of view of her just how brave she was to just be that transparent and that open to all of us. From the point of view of, we do hear way too many rainbow and unicorn stories about abduction, and that's not how they all play out. And this was a very balanced one, but one that's very hard on her, and everyone needs to hear it. And then for her to go to the impact of her, the drugs and the way she dealt with it, that was so important, because the world is so ignorant to the amount of drug abuse that happens because of this phenomenon. And it was a really good thing for her to talk about.
Oh yeah, this was good stuff, very good stuff. And you know, this is what I love about Nora. Okay, nobody has ever heard of her. All right, like this was her first time outside of one other interview that she has done on camera that hasn't been released yet. This is her first time. Credit to both Kate and Dirty Filth for getting this guest. I mean that is one of those hidden gems that we all want to hear but are so hard to find. It was a beautiful story, and she was very eloquent with the way she taught it or mentioned it, and you could feel the emotion in her voice and the pain and the confusion. I mean, just fantastic.
And Dave, I would normally do this privately, but for once I'm going to do this publicly. I want to say something to you. The way you empathized and shared your own stories with her to help her was freaking awesome.
Thank you.
Like, really, man, that was awesome.
Thank you. Okay, before we bring John in, thank you to Aussie Steve, Aussie Rob, Flash Forward, Heidi, Waylon, Chad, Lee, and Black Dragon for the awesome super chats tonight. Thank you to all our veterans hanging out there and listening in. You always got a home here on SOR. And, of course, to all of you listening, here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to say that all of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's that time once again where we get into some UFOs. The unbiased UFO report, we bring in the man with the black fedora, John Hudson, to break it all down for us. John, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I got to admit, I think I'm still a little in shock from that guest, but I'm happy to be here.
Great to have you here again. And we're going to start off with the blackvault.com, John Greenwald, coming up with some brand new news here. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so there's a lot to cover. If you can all stick around for 3 hours, I'd appreciate it. But we'll try to get through what we can. There's so much happened this weekend. It was a crazy 72 hours. So hats off to John Greenwald again. The cool part about this finding is it's another collection of these briefing cards. But the great thing about this is these are the briefing cards going from...
Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? Just eat lots of bananas, but peels only. And always be sweating, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Join now through September 16th for just $1 down and get back to a real routine with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Deal ends September 16th.
Join today for $1 down. Offer ends September 16th.
See club for details.
Anyone can be ready for back to school. But with Staples Connect, you can be more than ready. Like, I got everything on my list and saved a ton ready. Staples has everything you need and more for the new school year. Just visit your nearest Staples store or go to staplesconnect.com for inspiration.
September 19th, 2019, all the way June 25th, 2021. And so what that means is if you look at them all, and he offers a link, and I'll post one too, you can see the progression of the messaging. You can see how the messaging reacts to certain events. When one report came out or when a video was released, you can really see the kind of way that they were reacting defensively to what was going on in the outside world. And it's a really educational thing. And the only thing I want to call out on it, even though there's many other things that I should call out, is they've specifically called out what Dr. Eric, oh my God, I cannot believe I forgot the poor guy's name
Davis.
now. Eric Davis said in the New York Times article about off-world vehicles. They specifically said a side note on the slides by the New York Times published, this slide was not used by the DoD ever, and off-world is not an official term used by the DoD. And I just love the fact that they felt the need to call out and put some distance between them and Dr. Davis, which shows how closely they're watching. So it's quite a good find by John Greenwald.
Tom DeLonge continues to be in the news.
Yeah, so this one's funny because this is a quote that should have appeared in the other article, because this is from Guitar World and this was about music. But as Tom does, he sometimes just talks when he feels like talking. And he goes into a surprising amount of detail about what happened when they found the videos. And he basically says that there was 26 of them. And that was actually a small branch from a much bigger tree. Some of them having videos of UFOs only 10 feet away, tracking them for 20 minutes, UFOs going 600 miles an hour, pilots screaming and freaking out, all sorts of things. But essentially, these were the only videos they were able to get out. And the quote's more detailed than that, and I'll post it. But that's the most information I've seen about what they found outside of those 3 videos in the last 4 years.
Do you think Tom released that statement? Because let's face it, Tom has been known to exaggerate things a little bit at times, which is why we saw a lot of his Instagram and Twitter posts pulled down after being up for an hour and a half during the TTSA. Do you think that maybe this is his little screw you to Elizondo, Mellon, and Justice leaving by mentioning that there were 26 videos available?
No, I definitely could see how it could be perceived that way. I totally get where you're coming from, but I don't, honestly, I don't think Tom works that way, and I really think that this was just Tom's inside voice making its way to his outside voice when it probably wasn't supposed to. He lacks that filter, and essentially, this is probably something he's been wanting to say for a long time. And I'll differ with you in that, yes, I think that he ends up exaggerating at times, but I don't think he exaggerates beyond what he believes. I think he really sees it that way. I think he really saw it all that way. And I think to him, he's not exaggerating. It just may be exaggerating to the rest of us if we compare it objectively to what's really happening.
And the reason why I asked that, because that could be potentially huge news, that there were 26 videos. And that, they almost got the one out, which would have been Elizondo and Mellon, obviously trying to get that out. But, I mean, the fact that nobody has ever talked about 26 videos, this is the first we're hearing about it.
Yep. In a Guitar World magazine article that has a very unfortunate title.
What's the title?
Honestly, I didn't even write it down, Dave, because I didn't want to risk saying it. It's a...
Oh my! You used your editing skills there.
Yeah. It was quite a quote. Yeah.
Well,
I'll post a link to it.
Well, I mean, that is incredible. Wow, I'm stunned by the 26 videos that are mentioned there. No kidding. All right, the biggest news coming out is literally about Elizondo, Mellon, and the UAP report.
Yeah, this is so the timing of this was incredibly fortuitous. At the time all this broke, Elizondo was in I don't remember exactly what town he was in, but he was in Italy or in that area for a conference. And basically a bunch of news kind of broke in parallel. The one thing you had a very impressive presentation by Elizondo that it has been recorded and will be posted, where he not only shows 3 slides that cover in detail how he perceives yesterday, today, and tomorrow, with some very interesting data points that should be drawn out. I mean, honestly, we could talk about that for 2 hours. And then at the same time, the new bill comes out, the appropriations bill for the military, HR 4350. And this bill is, well, as Elizondo put it, this is a great way to start third gear. Basically, what he said pretty much point blank was, this is the fruit of the last 5 years of labor. This is the point. And if you read through and I'll post the what I can of the direct report, because it's like 2,000 pages or something, so you got to dig for what you want. But basically, what it says, real briefly, is they're making the UAP, they're dissolving the UAP task force, and they're making it an official department in the Office of the Secretary of Defense. And so this basically makes it legitimate. And this means funding. This means headcount. This means authority. This means we're playing real baseball now. This is the big leagues.
One of the big things, and I was talking to Bob McGuire about this earlier today, was crash retrievals. The fact that they put in there crash retrievals need to be known to the public. All right. Now, the one thing that Bob said was, the government is not putting that in there about crash retrievals if the people writing it didn't already know that the United States military does have extraterrestrial craft and crash retrievals in their hands.
Correct. And I'll go further, and I'll say that much of the language in this is very smart, politically defensive language. They worded things in several places that specifically block wiggle out points that have been abused in the past. That when they list what kind of intelligence they want, they list everything. They list all the ints. They go through this whole laundry list. When they talk about crash retrieval, they talk about any technology derived from retrieved craft vehicles, as if they already do have them. The language is very specific. The other great part is they actually talk about specifically having an area to study the effects of contact on people. So this is taking what Burroughs went through, what John Burroughs went through, and basically making it official. No longer will you have to fight tooth and nail to get, proper medical care for results of a contact. Now this office is actually going to look into those, and we can start making it official that some people are getting wounded by something, and we don't know what it is, and we need to figure it out.
The fact that this is now going to become an official department of UFO research, I mean, this is right out of the television show The X-Files. I mean,
absolutely.
We've already known that there are departments like this within the alphabet agencies of the Pentagon. So do those agencies that have been so secretive before, do they now culminate together under one roof? Or is each department, whether it's the CIA, the NRO, the NSA, do they all keep their own hidden teams?
No, you will have this beautiful, bureaucratic tiered structure where essentially, a lot of those offices will still exist. Some of them will turn public, turn to be more public. Some of them will create new offices to show to the public so they don't have to expose their secret one, right? But a lot of the language in this is designed to prevent people from avoiding reporting. So that's why there's things in there that say, like, every 90 days you have to report everything that's happened in the previous 90 days, plus anything that's happened before then that you didn't report in the previous section, going back to like 40 something. So I mean, they're like, whoever wrote this, it was done by someone with a lot of experience. Let me put it that way. It's very well done.
Let's just hope this isn't talk. Let's hope that there is some sort of actual evidence, because this is earth-changing. This is absolutely earth-changing, and I'm not going to lie, it's a little scary that this is now coming out. And maybe it's me, man, but for me, it's really starting to show the legs of what I was saying to a lot of people in our chats, on our show here, and it's really what's the words I'm looking for? To me, there's a date that's been set. There's no reason, there is absolutely no reason for any of this over the last 3 years to all of a sudden come out, unless something's about to happen and there's a timeline of when this is about to happen.
The one exception that I would give to that, and the one aspect that worries me, is that there is a timeline on this, and I'm trying to remember. I apologize, I got too much in my head. If it's 4 years or 5 years, but there is a sunset essentially to say that at this point we have to reevaluate whether we continue this or not, and it's I believe it's 5 years. But the problem with that is that if the language is not tight enough, and if someone figures out a way to wiggle, then all they have to do is continue to wiggle for a certain amount of time, and they might get out of porting. Because let's face it, if by some weird twist of fate, right, and I wouldn't believe this, but we saw what happened before with Blue Book, right? So we have to acknowledge this is possible. If somehow 5 years from now they don't have anything, I can't even imagine how that would happen. But I'm just saying if, then they would have an excuse to say, okay, look, we're closing it because we did our 5 years and we looked and we didn't find anything, right? Which is what they did to us before. So this isn't a get out of hell free card, right? But what this is an opportunity for pole position.
And if I were,
we get to start the race at pole position.
And if I were to look at it from an outsider's perspective, I would also say too that this looks like something that could be very life altering in the next few years. It really could, if everything comes to fruition that they are saying, because this is something that's going to affect every person on this planet, every single one.
I could not agree more. And I'll also add this: there were moments when Lou talking about this where he was excited. I mean, Lou, the person, the human, was excited. And at some level, everyone should just don't get lazy, but take 30 seconds, pour yourself a drink. We should all be congratulating ourselves over this. This is what we've been fighting for, and this is where things start getting real. And this is a big deal, and we should all be pretty excited about this.
All right, John, thank you so much for dealing with this. I'm going to go right into our main man, our main spook, Mr. Elizondo, getting ready to write a book. Right in the news. Here we go. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the Elizondo factor. Yes. Former head of the U.S. government secret UFO program has apparently signed a deal with HarperCollins for a brand new book. I mean, no offense. We all saw this coming. We did. Lou Elizondo, who headed the Pentagon's ATIP program effort to study UFOs around the world, has signed a book deal with William Morrow, an imprint of HarperCollins, after a competitive bidding war for the U.S. publishing rights. The memoir promises to reveal shocking, never-before-shared details regarding what Elizondo has learned about UFOs and the profound implications for humanity, all of which escalate what is already a hot topic globally. Back in May, Elizondo was featured on 60 Minutes talking about the phenomena, which racked up over 10 million views on YouTube, making it the show's fourth most watched segment on the streaming service. Former President Barack Obama said on the Late Late Show back in May, "What is true, and I'm actually being serious here, is that there are footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. Gee, Barack, why didn't you tell us that when you were sitting in the president's hot seat?" And Lou, by the way, you've done about 1,400 podcasts in the last 8 months. What new information have you not said? What haven't you told us? We do have a right to know. Unless we buy the book. Right? Elizondo said in a statement, the American people know a small portion of what I and my colleagues in the Pentagon have been privy to, that these UAP are not secret U.S. technology, that they do not seem to belong to any known allies or adversaries, and that our intelligence services have yet to identify a terrestrial explanation for these extraordinary vehicles. This conversation is only just beginning. Okay? So it's going to take a book deal to get this out? A book deal? Come on, Lou. What are you holding out on us? Let's get to it. I like Lou. Don't get me wrong. I like Lou. But you've been on 1,400 podcasts in the last 8 months, 10 months. You've done the tour. You've run the gamut. And you're saving stuff for your book? Fans at a University of Miami football game used a United States flag to break the fall of a cat that fell from the upper deck. If you haven't seen the video, this is pretty cool. Craig and Kimberly Cromer said it was in the second quarter of the school's game against the Appalachian State Mountaineers at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami when the crowd's attention was captured by a cat dangling from the upper deck. The Cromers said fans in the upper deck were trying to reach the cat, but succeeded in only scaring it into urinating on fans below. The couple pulled the U.S. flag they had brought to the stadium free from the zip ties that they were using to hang it, and then held it out for about 2-3 minutes before the cat finally fell into the waiting banner. The flag broke the feline's fall, and the cat bounced into the crowd where it was escorted out of the stadium by security. Charges were not laid during delay of game for that kitty. A Colorado man who put a couch on his back deck for outdoor lounging said the furniture is now no longer usable. Why? Well, that's because a local bear has decided that it's way too comfy and has decided to catch a few naps on it. Steamboat Springs' Chris Ward said he put the couch out in the spring and soon found it was hosting a nightly visitor that was less than gentle to the sofa. Yeah, them bear claws will rip up a sofa pretty quick. He's got video of it, said the bear has shredded the couch to the point where it's no longer usable for humans, but he's going to leave it out there until the local bears go into hibernation for the winter. He said the couch will then be destined for the dump. Ward said he has to be careful not to leave any garbage or food outside to attract the bears, and he even brings in his hummingbird feeder every night to keep the yard free and clear. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What do we got here? When do you see aliens becoming part of the UFO disclosure debate? Science Bob. You mean officially, because they already are, except not admitted by the U.S. government. Robert. When people stop listening to the government and start realize these beings are here among us. Lee. July 8th, 1947. Byron. Right now. John. It should be acknowledged now, but when? Well, that depends if we keep the pressure on our wily government. Joe. I don't think the aliens will become a part of the UFO disclosure debate because I'm not sure they speak English, and I hear their debating skills are rudimentary. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears tonight. Thank you to everybody tuning in for Captain Shirk's Newswire, the UFO Report with John Hudson, and an incredible personal story of ET contact with Nora Fox. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. On YouTube, LGAB, Twitch, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio.
I know you're
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.
Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? Just eat lots of bananas, but peels only. And always be sweating, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Join now through September 16th for just $1 down and get back to a real routine with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Deal ends September 16th.
Join today for $1 down. Offer ends September 16th.
See Club for details.
Anyone can be ready for back to school. But with Staples Connect, you can be more than ready. Like, I got everything from my classroom and saved a ton ready. We've got more backpacks, more pens, and more supplies than you ever thought possible. So double knot your shoes, gas up the minivan, and smear war paint on your face. Staples has everything you need and more for the new school year. Let's do this. Just visit your nearest Staples store or go to staplesconnect.com for inspiration.